Howdy chummers, how you doing out there, guys? Nice to be with you today. By golly, we have a pretty good show for you. First of all, I want to say fishing's been a little bit tough this week. Last week we had some good fishing. We had this cool weather move in, and my golly, it was nice, wasn't it? Going to be a little bit warmer for the upcoming weekend, the first of next week, maybe in the low 90s. But this weather this past week has been awesome. But you know, looking at all my reports, the fishing wasn't that good. Ew, who knows about this stuff? In fact, we're out today on Table Rock with my old buddy Catfish Rick Ellis and my buddy Brandon. And we had a hard day. We had a tough day. We'll be talking about this in a bit in the fishing report segment. But how you guys doing out there? My golly, all my chummers, good to hear from all you people sending all those photos in. And it's going to be kind of a quick show, but we're going to give you what we have. And we want to thank all the viewers. You know, 2 weeks ago we had 26,000 views. Woo, that's crazy. This week had around 23,000. Thank all you chummers. All right, let's get going. Let's go out to Beaver Lake. And this is one thing about this cool weather this week. It's really dropped the temperature of the water on the surface. Last week, a couple of weeks ago, it was around 89. A lot of these lakes are reporting in the low 80s. Boy, it really dropped. Hey, might be good fishing this weekend. All right, let's go out to Beaver. 84 degrees out there this morning, and we have some good walleye photos coming from out at Beaver. You know, below the dam at Beaver and on that the White River that goes into Table Rock, they have some good trout fishing. Our good friends out at the Custom Adventure Guide Service have been out this week. And I want to show our great friend Lisa. Lisa was out. Look at this beautiful walleye. My golly, Lisa, good fish, girl. But our good friend and her working companion, Richard Lee Rusher, couldn't be outdone. Now look at this beautiful trout that Richard Lee caught. And I'm going to make this just, I tell you what, it's a great photo. Just about made it photo of the week. I like that photo. And one of the guide service, they were out fishing a couple of days ago. And look at this beautiful young lady with this great smile with this nice rainbow trout. Boy, they catch some beautiful rainbow trout down below that dam. Some nice browns too. And so down below the river, if you're looking for a good guide trip, Custom Adventure Guide Service. Boy, Richard Lee and Lisa, good going. Now out on the main lake, I tell you what they're doing. They're getting up way early for dark 30 and going out and fishing those lower end points for stripers. And I tell you what, they're catching some pretty nice fish. And I tell you, there's some good guide services out there. If you just want a lot of fun to catch some hybrids and stripers, they're fishing those lower end points down by the dam and using mainly live minnows. And these fish could be 30 feet over 100 feet of water. And sometimes they'll come up and surface a little bit. So that's a lot of fun. Bass fishing, not too bad. Not a lot of people bass fishing out at Beaver this week. But this is the thing that I've heard. Long gravel points, around 25, 28, 30 feet of water. Ned rigs. They're going out deeper and finding some suspended fish and going with the drop shots. And then at times they're going back into the mouth of the creeks with some brush and stuff back in there and pitching plastic worms, Texas-style plastic worms. Hey, there's been a few walleye caught out on these flat points down by the dam as well. People have been using the bottom bouncers with maybe a night crawler with a little spinner on it. They've been using a jig and night crawler, picking up a few walleye out at Beaver. And for the crappie, I tell you what, these fish are out there over those deep water brush piles in about 25 feet of water. Seems like minnows have been a little bit better than jigs. So go to Beaver this weekend. Boy, I tell you, down below that dam, boy, they're catching a lot of fish. All right, let's go out to Table Rock. Okay, Roman Carr, you know, he's been out all summer trying to beat his wife's fish. She had like a 28-inch walleye. And every week just about he comes in with one just short of that. He's trying to beat his wife. And he had this nice walleye, put it up there, Kathy. Beautiful walleye out at Table Rock this week. Now I want to say about Table Rock, the walleye fishing is a little slower. Well, all the fishing on Table Rock is a little slower. It's just been kind of a tough week. Had a lot, like today, we were out and it was bluebird skies and no wind, and that makes it so pretty tough fishing. So go out there and get out there with your bass fishing on those long gravel points. You get out there a little bit deeper than what you have been. And they've been picking up some fish on Ned rigs. That's been good. Also shaky heads. And then in the little bit warmer parts of the day, they're even going deeper off the breaks, finding schools of shad and bass and going out there with the drop shots. That's the key. And as I've been talking the last couple of weeks on the program, if you want a chance of catching a chunky bass, I would go up the James River arm. And I've been talking about this the last 2 or 3 weeks. Use that 10-inch plastic worms, and it seems like they want the worms a little dark, the purples, the blacks, the grapes. Pitch it out, that 10-inch worm, swim it down to a brush pile, a tree, a trunk, a stump, whatever, and hang on. When you catch one, it's usually a dandy. And there's been a few bass being caught around some of the docks and some jig fishing, but I tell you what, this is the time of the year the drop shot fishing's pretty good, and Ned rigs are always good. A few crappie being caught out at Table Rock. They've been picking up some fish, mainly not so much around the docks this week, a few, but around the structures, the deep water structures, and around 15, 20, 25 feet of water jigging minnows. And might try that this weekend, find those brush piles. All right, let's go out to Lake Taneycomo. I love Taneycomo. They haven't been running too much water this week. It's been kind of slow. It's been cool. They haven't been generating for all those air conditioning, so they've not had a whole lot of flow. But when they do, they're using, I tell you, night crawlers are hard to beat. I say this quite a bit on the program. I've been using this tactic for 30 years. I've been using just split shots and a gold hook, crappie hook, about a half a night crawler, or if they're finicky, you want to get that bait up off the bottom, you can use an air injector to get that tail up. But don't get too heavy weights on there. Just let it very bounce off that on those ledges and all those rocks. Just let it just pop up and down. And they've been catching some nice trout using this method. In fact, we got a photo from our friends at Trout Hollow Resort. Put that photo up, Kathy. Beautiful, beautiful trout caught out at Trout Hollow. And another thing besides the night crawlers, they've been using some light jig. When they're not running too much water, go to 2-pound test, I'm telling you, and just like 64th ounce jigs. And also make it a dark color. Brown with a little bit of chartreuse, black with a little bit of chartreuse in it, and also cinnamon. 30-second, 64th ounce jig, pitch that out, let it go down, and just swim it back in real slow. You'll catch some trout doing this. By the way, the water temperature this morning when we were out, it was 81 degrees when we started. 81 degrees, that's crazy. And then it got up to around 83 at the time we quit in the early afternoon. So that's low temperatures, that's for sure. Bull Shoals was 80, and Taneycomo, by the way, was 54 this morning. Okay, now we'll get back on track. Bull Shoals is 85 degrees, and there's been some nice walleye caught out there this week. Been a little slower, but Rob was out. He's a chummer, sent this photo in, a 21-inch walleye. Those two guys look like they're having a great time out on Bull Shoals. And our old buddy Daniel Crome, every week he comes up with a nice walleye or two. Look at this nice 6-pound walleye Daniel got a hold of. Get going. All right, now the bass fishing on Bull Shoals. I'll tell you what's happening. They're going out there in the morning and using some Ned rigs and also some shaky heads and about 15 to 18 feet of water. When that sun gets up, they're going out deeper, maybe 25 to 30 feet of water. And then later, they're going off out into the deeper water with drop shots, catching some fish. And so a lot of fish seem to be on the points and secondary points out there. Use your electronics. I don't know what it is. Okay, and then maybe a little bit of a topwater bite in the morning hours. Go to a spook, go to a popar type bait, and you could catch some, maybe get in some bass fishing out there as well. Also, they're pitching some jigs and plastic worms in the brush piles, picking up some bass as well. All right, let's go to Stockton. All right, let's see. Stockton last week was on fire. It's catching a lot of fish. This week they're catching walleye out there, a lot of short fish, throwbacks, occasionally picking up a keeper. Look at Zach Smith. He was out doing a magazine article with the Tandem Fly Outfitters Guide Service, a great service, and he come up with this 25-inch walleye. This just a couple days ago. So good going, Zach Smith. Hope you got a good story out there. Now this is what they're doing out at Stockton right now. There's a lot of short fish being caught. You wade through them, and you can catch a keeper once in a while. They're still on the points, secondary points. Use your good grass, your electronics, zigzag back and forth on the points, and go down with a night crawler, a jigging night crawler. Some people have been using some bottom bouncers, and other people have been trolling some Berkeley, just some Berkeley trolling baits too, out there at Stockton. Now they've been picking up some crappie, but the crappie slowed down a little bit. They are suspended out there, and so the boys that's doing the spider rig fishing with the bandits and also just any good crankbait, they've been picking up some fish doing this out there. Some people have been vertically fishing some jigs and minnows and catching some fish out there as well. Bass fishing's been fair, a little slower than last week, but they're going to the brush piles off the points and secondary points, doing plastic worms, Texas style, throwing some jigs in there and some swim baits. A few white bass are surfacing in the evening hours out there. That's always fun to get the kids out there when they're doing that. You can just load them up with a white jig, crappie jig, maybe an 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce, get it out there and just slow roll it back in. Boy, they can catch some fish doing this as well. All right, let's go out to Pomme de Terre. Our good friend, our great chummer, Bill Altick was out the other day, and look at this floor full of crappie that Bill caught. Good going, Bill. Chummer, they have been catching crappie at Pomme de Terre. I understand down by the dam at the lower end and just go to the brush piles. And we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. You may graph brush piles with nothing, go to one brush pile to another, and then all of a sudden you'll hit a nice brush pile with quite a few fish on them. And they're nice size eating fish out there as well. Bass fishing at Pomme's been a little slower. I think that's due to the fact not many people's fishing out there right now. A little bit of a topwater bite in the morning hours, and then pitching Texas-style plastic worms. And once in a while, with a little wind, you can use some crankbaits out there on the points and secondary points. All right, let's go to the photo of the week. My golly, Jordan. Gosh darn beautiful young lady. She was out and caught her biggest white bass she's ever caught. Look at that beautiful smile. And that is our photo of the week out at Truman. Jordan, good going. Now, Ethan Decker was out the other day as well, and he's been catching some crappie out there. And boy, nice fish. Look at this beautiful fish. Now, the crappie are still on the flats. There's no doubt about that. They've had some rain out there. The lake's up a little bit. The water temperature was 82 out there this morning, and 81, by the way, at Pomme de Terre, at 82 at Truman. They're scattered a little bit more than what they were, but you're just going to brush pile to trees, tree rows, old road beds, and finding fish and catching some nice crappie. When you do get into them out of Truman, they're nice quality fish. So don't overlook the crappie fishing out there. And the catfishing's been pretty good on cut shad on some of the flats as well. Bass fishing's good on fairly good on the points and secondary points using plastic worms, Texas style, and also they're flipping some jigs up there. And on windy days, you can catch some fish on crankbaits. So Truman looks pretty good. And all right, let's go out to Lake of the Ozarks, 83 degrees. Now what's happening at the Lake of the Ozarks, they're doing a lot of pushing and pulling and spider rigging for crappie. A lot of crappie are suspended out there. Some people are going to the brush piles, vertically fishing jig and minnows, catching fish. And Anthony, look at this beautiful, had his kids out anyway. I don't know, this young man had a big smile on his face. Look at this beautiful photo, and that young man got into some crappie fishing. Good going. Bass fishing's been pretty good out at Lake of the Ozarks. Windy points, we haven't had much wind this week, but crankbaits have been working. And then when the wind's not blowing, they back off doing some swim baits, and they've been picking up some fish on Ned rigs and shaky heads out there as well. Okay, let's go to Norfolk and wrap this rascal up. Water temperature's a little warmer out there, 87 degrees, and they've been picking up some stripers, but you got to get up at dark 30 and get out there and use live shiners or spoons, and they've been picking up some fish at the lower end of the lake down by the dam and off some of those points out there. Once in a while get into the stripers and the hybrids. Once in a while some of these rascals will come up and surface, so always have an extra rod with a good topwater bait. That could be a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what, the big news out at Norfolk this week is walleye are being caught out there, and some limits of walleye are being caught down to 30, 35 feet of water over some of the brush, and they've been using spoons and also jigging night crawlers. Might try some walleye fishing out at Norfolk. Okay, that about does it. A quick report. My golly, we got beat up out at Table Rock today, but I hope it's going to be a little bit better this upcoming weekend. We need a little bit of wind or a little bit of cloud cover. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching us. We had over, I think, 22 or 23,000 views last week. The week before, 26,000. God bless you. Thank you for sharing. And speaking of sharing, if you folks are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and share and subscribe. Put it up there, Kathy. And if you want to get any photos to us, email us. Go to fishingchums@gmail.com. And of course, for you people watching us over on Facebook, God bless you guys. We just have thousands of viewers over there, and keep spreading the word. We just having a lot of fun with our Facebook people. And the best way to send us photos on Facebook is go to our page. Join our Fishing Chums page and put it up there, Kathy. That way you can get us photos quickly, and also we share information and talk to each other on our group page. Well, God bless you for being with us. Get out early in the morning for a bite. Be sure to take along plenty of water and sunscreen. God bless you. Check you here next week. Kathy, roll those photos.